none of the drivers found my drone. So this is where things get interesting. Remember I mentioned that after my wedding, I almost lost my new drone? Okay, in this video, I'm gonna share how I found my lost drone and how Nate and I handled bad situations differently. I really like this story because it's not only about lost and found, but also about the complexity of human nature. Let's fast backward to the last day on Big Island. We had a stargazing tour with a big group of friends.
3, 2, 1, hello!
I brought my drone and hoped to get some cool shots. There were 2 shuttles that took us up the 4,000-meter tall mountain. Shuttle A dropped us at the midpoint so that we could get some adjusted and avoid altitude sickness. Shuttle B is in charge of taking us to watch the stars and get back to the Shuttle A. The driver told me I can't fly my drone there, so I left it back in the shuttle. Because the tour ended at midnight, all of us were tired and fell asleep in the shuttles. Nobody was paying attention when we got off. While we were dragging our buddies to the parking lot, my mom suddenly yelled, "The drone is missing." My first instinct was like, oh shit, I left my drone in the Shuttle A, which was the shuttle that just drove away. I imagined so many ways of losing my drone. It could crash into the tree, it could fall into the ocean, it could be whipped by the wind, but I never thought I would totally forget and leave it behind. I felt so bad, and so did my mom because I put the drone next to her. But nobody was blaming anyone. We all thought the shuttle driver would return it to us. Nate was trying to call them right away, but the number he has was customer service from the tour company, and of course nobody was picking up because it was midnight. The next day we had an early flight to Kauai. I didn't sleep well, but I was happy to hear our friends who stayed on Big Island were planning to pick the drone up for us. But after one day of waiting, the customer service told us none of the drivers found my drone. So this is where things get interesting. Nate and I turned on our investigation mode and started analyzing the possibility. There were a couple of strangers who took the same shuttle, but they sat far away from my mom, and we saw them get off the shuttle before us, so it's very unlikely they stole it. The driver of Shuttle B was surprised that I brought a drone, but he's also the one who told me I can't fly it. My blurry memory shows that I carried the drone from one shuttle to another. And the driver of first shuttle didn't go to work next day. He also joked about not leaving anything in his shuttle because only the valuable stuff would be missing. I guess it's not a joke. We both suspected the first driver, but there's no evidence and we are physically far away from them. Nate called the company again and told them we'd love to provide a reward if one of the drivers returned the drone. The company replied that they will tell the staff and keep looking, but no reward is needed if they found the drone. Now, here's the problem. The customer service doesn't want to make the company look bad. They can pass along the message, but they have no right to search the driver's belongings. And the driver will not return it because it basically tells the whole company he decided to not find it until there's a reward. Plus, he might lose his job. So what should we do now? Well, we did nothing besides having fun on Kauai, because when we're traveling, time is more valuable than a drone. But does that mean we just let it go? Of course not. Well, maybe Nate would because he's chill about everything, but I was determined to get my drone back. There must be something else I can do about it. I noticed that there's a communication gap between the driver and us. So after we came back from Kauai, Nate and I decided to call the company again. Usually, Nate always talks on the phone because, he speaks English better than I do, but this time, I took the phone and turned on my storyteller mode. I told them we just got married and that drone has all of our wedding venue footage and irreplaceable shots. I know they have already passed along our request, but I'd love to have the driver's name and personal contact so that we can talk to him directly and let him understand how important the drone is to us. The person over the phone was very helpful, but want to keep everything confidential. Eventually, we got all the driver's phone numbers and the shuttle's place. And this is Nate, the engineer's time to shine. No, he didn't blackmail them. He just made an offer the driver can't refuse. First, he still offers a reward and no questions asked. By the way, this time is different because the driver will get the money directly from Nate instead of the company. Second, if the drone wasn't found in the next following days, we will file a police report for insurance. And the driver might be contacted by the police officer. Last, in order to give the driver a way out, Nate pretended to remember heard some falling sound that night and the drone could be wedged under the driver's seat. And guess what? The driver magically found the drone. Imagine our shock. Oh wow, it was under the seat the whole time? Out of the goodness of his heart, he even gave Nate a phone call to explain what happened and how he lost his wedding photos as well. Well, as promised, Nate wired him $200 to cover the shipping fee and his effort, and the remaining reward will be sent after we receive the drone. 1 week later, I got my drone and all my precious footage back. I'm super happy and proud of our teamwork. But the story didn't end here. I thought the remaining reward just a hook to make sure the driver ships the drone properly. Once we got the drone, I was planning to call the company and let them to decide how to manage this guy. Even wired him $200, I think is rewarding criminal behavior. All our friends who know what happened also agree with me. But Nate said we cannot guarantee the driver took the drone. Maybe he really just found it under the seat. Then Nate said, okay, even if the driver did hide the drone on purpose, we should focus on how happy we are now because we get our wedding footage back. The rest of it is not that important. Then he wired the driver another $100 as the remaining reward, like he promised. Well, despite all the craziness we experienced, I have to say that that's the guy I married and want to spend the rest of my life with. He's not naive. Well, maybe a little bit, but how he looked at and handled this situation is full of kindness, generosity, and forgiveness. Me as a person, having some time to process this situation has allowed me to take the high road. He was right. There's no way to figure out if the driver is guilty. We got what we want and we should be grateful for that. The driver could have 1,000 reasons, good or bad reason, to keep the drone, but it doesn't matter because that's his life. That's his choice. And I still have full control about how I think and treat other people. I'm sure I can expose the driver and public shame him or even get him fired, but what's the point? And what can I get from it besides a sense of revenge and self-righteousness? After thinking this through, I'm glad the driver took the $300. To be honest, seriously, it must take some courage to make that phone call to Nate, and I'm thankful he did that. What I learned from this experience is everyone has a dark side, but kindness is contagious too. Human nature is complex, but don't forget, it's your choice to be a devil or an angel. Hemingway used to say, We are all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master. Life is an ongoing process of continuous self-improvement, and I'm still learning how to take the high road in the stressful or challenging situations. But with Nate's help, I'm confident I'll keep getting better. Okay, this is today's video. What are you working on right now? Comment below and let me know. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Which was the strongest? Oh my god. Oh my god, this sunshine is killing my eyes. Second. And keep going. Ah.